Hello and welcome everyone to today's workshop on the Commonwealth Shared Scholarships. Um, Very quickly, what we're going to be doing today, I will just sort of introduce Project EduAccess and introduce you to your panelists, and then I'll hand it over to the two panelists who talk to you about what the scholarship is about, how do you go about choosing your course, the eligibility, what are the documents that you require, what does the application process look like, how do you get your references. They'll give you some tips on writing your essays, give an overview of that, and then more generally some tips on making an application for the shared scholarship. Um, just to let you all know that we also conducted a session on the Commonwealth Shared Scholarship last year, and we have a recording of that available on our website. I'll send a link to that in chat. And we also conducted a series of workshops on the Commonwealth Master Scholarship, and that's already done. And now this is the Commonwealth Shared Scholarship, and the panelists will talk to you more about the difference and what this scholarship is. Very quickly, for those of you who are joining us for the first time, we are Project EduAccess. We believe that access to higher education, leadership, and professional opportunities is a privilege that most people from marginalized communities are systematically denied. And we try to improve inclusivity in these spaces by removing some of the barriers that communities in global south or marginalized communities face. We do this by providing a mentorship uh, to um, to students from marginalized communities. We engage in advocacy. We run capacity building workshops online and in person. And today's workshop is a part of those sort of series of workshops that we run. So, to introduce you to your panelists, we have two really wonderful people who've joined us today. We have with us Jasmin, who completed her MSc in Economics for Development from University of Oxford and was a Commonwealth Shared Scholar for 2022-2023. Oh, sorry. Why is the name incorrect here? I will just edit that. And we have with us Siddhi, who is currently pursuing her MSc in Global Sustainability Solutions from University of Exeter and is a Commonwealth Shared Scholar for 2023-2024. Thank you so much, Siddhi and Jasmin, for joining us today. And yeah, I'll hand it over to you, Siddhi.
So greetings of the day, everyone. I am really delighted to be here because this time last year, I was one of the participants attending the workshop. And it's really nice to be on the other side. And I'm really excited to go through this scholarship, its requirement, and things like that with all of you all quickly, with Jasmin, of course. So to begin with, the Commonwealth Shared Scholarship is one of UK's primary scholarship schemes, which is essentially focused on furthering UK's international developmental goals. It supports change makers and leaders like all of you all by funding your postgraduate studies in a range of different formats in UK. This scholarship is specifically for your master's program. So this scholarship does not cover, courses like PhD and things like that. The most important part about the scholarship is the fact that it's a fully funded scholarship, which is to say that it covers your tuition fee, living allowance, your airfare, your visa, your NHS, it covers your thesis grant, it covers your study grant, gives you a warm clothing allowance and a family allowance if required, if you have a dependent living with you in the UK. Talking about a quick overview of the scholarship. It is a one-year master's program that is tenable at select UK universities. So one of the primary differentiators between the Commonwealth Master's Scholarship and the Commonwealth Shared Scholarship is the fact that Commonwealth Shared Scholarships can only be, basically they're tenable at only certain specific courses for certain specific universities, right? These scholarships intend to support candidates who would otherwise be unable to attend an education in UK without this scholarship. The applicants must be a citizenship of a Commonwealth nation, or they must have been granted a refugee status in a Commonwealth country. India is one of the Commonwealth countries. So there's that. You are essentially applying for the scholarship through the Commonwealth Shared Scholarship website. The best part about the scholarship, which is my personal favorite, is the fact that you can apply for more than one courses, you can apply for more than one universities. An important fact to know about it is that you'll have to make a separate application every time you do so. But the very fact that you can apply for multiple courses, say one in public health and another in, let's say, medicine, for instance, you can very well do that. Another important fact to note is that the universities are the nominating agency here, which is to say that your scholarship applications are read by your universities, your specific departments that you're applying to, which is something to keep in mind as you're drafting the answer responses to your essay questions, which again we'll go over in a while, of course. So these scholarships, like any other Commonwealth scholarships, are spread across 6 developmental themes, including the science and technology for development, strengthening health systems and capacity, promoting global prosperity, strengthening global peace, security, and governance, strengthening resilience and responses to crisis, access, inclusion, and opportunity. One thing I want to share with you is that when you're applying for a certain course, you might have like a mental idea of that, hey, you know what, it falls under, let's say, access, inclusion, and opportunity. But sometimes you'd be surprised that maybe they are looking at the same problem from another angle, say strengthening global peace, security, and governance. So even if you have a specific course in mind, definitely go through the courses present in other themes as well. Thoroughly check out the big database that Commonwealth releases every time, as to tell you that, okay, this course is under this specific theme, right? Let's say there's a course on economic development, maybe it will fall under global prosperity. For another university, it could also fall under access, inclusion, and opportunity, and things like that. So, definitely check the entire database out when it comes to these developmental themes. Whatever developmental theme your course falls under, ultimately, whenever you're writing your essay responses, make sure that they connect and align with the goals of that specific developmental theme and whatever international goals it is trying to achieve, of course. So, a very important question, how to choose your courses, right? It's a difficult question because you'll have before you a database of all sorts of courses that you can apply to in various universities. Sometimes it's also heartbreaking because maybe you were looking forward to a certain course in a certain specific university, but that is not covered under Commonwealth Shared Scholarship, of course. But nevertheless, there's potential to apply in multiple courses. Each requires separate application, like I mentioned before. Another part about these scholarships is the fact that the procedure itself can get very daunting, right? Because there is no further interview for this application or anything like that. This application really is the sole basis on which the universities essentially select you, right? Which is to say, the essays can get super lengthy at times. It can get super taxing to sit through and craft through all of these essays. But it's important to note that once you have like one fully crafted essay, it can definitely be repurposed for other courses that you want to apply to, right? So you can customize your answers, in accordance to this different course that you're applying to now, this different theme that you are considering to join in now. So there is that. So like once you have like one fully crafted application, it can be fairly easy to apply to your other courses, of course. Some quick tips for choosing your course include scanning through your relevant CSE themes, searching for keywords relevant to your domain. Most importantly, though, checking your university web pages for each of these given courses to track through the eligibility, the deadline, additional requirement, but also to even understand the sort of modules that are offered under a certain course, right? Because let's say 2 different universities are offering the same course, Sussex and etc., for example, they'll always have like different modules that they want you to take to be able to go through like a certain course, right? So it's a good idea to go through the modules essentially so that you can understand if this specific course aligns with your goals, if that is what you want to study throughout your course in UK. So this is the database we've been talking about this entire while. I'll try to share a link to the same, of course, in the chat real quick after I'm done with my part of it, of course. But this is a very accessible sort of database that Commonwealth Shared Scholarship will come up with, and it already has released the same for this year. So on the left-hand side, you will find all sorts of your themes, right? Your access, inclusion, opportunities, strengthening resilience, things like that. On the other hand side, you will find the universities that are offering specific courses under these themes. You can again do like a control F search, right? Be like, okay, what all is offered under health, right? Control F, what all is offered under development and things like that. So again, it's a good idea, I would say, to check through all of these themes. And then you'll, of course, have to check through the specific requirement of the university. What is it that they're looking for? What skills do they want you to imbibe and things like that? Over to you, Jasmin.
Thank you so much, Siddhi, for explaining the overview of the scholarship. Now moving on to some more specifics. Who is eligible to apply for the scholarship? So firstly, the applications that have been opened right now, and the deadline is on December 14th. So this cycle is meant for candidates who are going to start or who intend to start their masters next year, that is September 2024. And the basic eligibility is that you must have a first degree of at least first degree in the sense you're undergraduate of at least upper second class honors, or a second class degree and a relevant postgraduate qualification. Now, what it means for Indian students, the first condition, that is the first degree of at least upper second class, basically means that you should have an undergraduate degree of at least 60% marks. So that's your one qualification. Now, if you do not have 60% marks, if your marks are between 50 to 59%, which is a second class degree, then you also need to have a relevant master's qualification also. So either you have a 60% qualification in your graduation, or if you have less than 60%, combine it with a master's to be able to apply. Now, another condition is that you must not have studied or worked for more than one academic year in a high income country. And you should be unable to afford study in the UK without the scholarship. Now, the main supporting documentation that is asked in the scholarship application, firstly, it is proof of citizenship, which is basically your passport, just to show that you are a citizen or have been granted refugee status in a Commonwealth country. And the second document that is asked is full transcripts detailing all your higher educational qualification. Now, transcript just means a statement of marks. So all of your statement of marks for all your higher education qualifications until now. And if they are not in English, you have to get a certified translation for it as well. Now, application process. So right now, I'm going to also take some questions that came in the chat because some of these are related. Firstly, you don't have to apply through the MHRD portal for this. The Commonwealth Shared Scholarship, the Commonwealth Scholarship Commission's website is the only place where you have to apply. So it's just a single point of application. You don't have to apply anywhere else, so just one. So that has opened right now, and it is open till December 14th. So you submit all of your essays and you submit the application. A second important thing about the Commonwealth Shared Scholarship, which makes it different from the other master scholarship, is the fact that it does not need an offer letter. So you can just apply right now without an offer letter. You can apply for the scholarship without the offer letter, and you can apply for the universities later as well. So for example, last year what I did was I applied for Commonwealth first in December, and then I applied to Oxford in January. So you have that option, and you do not need an offer letter to be able to apply. And again, as Siddhi said before, you can apply for as many courses and universities as you want. There is no cap. But you have to submit separate applications for each, and essays can be repurposed with small modifications if needed, depending upon the course and university and the theme changes. So this is, so right now you have to submit your essays And then later on you can make in the college application. And then by June of next year, your university, who is the nominating agency who conducts the selection process for the scholarship, will nominate you to the CSE. And then in June, if you are nominated, you will be asked for references. So you only have to submit references then in June once you are nominated. And in June and July, you will be intimated about your award, and then your confirmation of award comes in June and July. So the only application you have to make is now, within December, just on the Commonwealth website. Can make as many applications as you want to separate universities and courses. Now, the application form, those of you who would have applied for the Commonwealth Master Scholarship would find this very familiar. The application form so you'll be asked to write a lot of essays. Before that, you have spaces to list all of your undergraduate and postgraduate qualifications, publications and prices, details of employment history, experience, employment in the sense you can talk about your internships, volunteering, part-time work, all kinds of employment can be mentioned. And you relate it to how it is relevant to the program of study being undertaken in the UK. You also will be asked to list the names of 3 referees. Again, you're not asked to submit references now. You just have to list the names of 3 referees, and then you'll have a section where you'll have to type in your essays as well. We'll go through the essays in the course of the presentation. Coming to references. So right now in this stage of application, you'll be asked to list the names of 3 referees who are qualified to comment on 2 things. This is important. Understand what is being asked of the referees and select your referees accordingly. So the scholarship asks the referees to comment on the candidate's capacity to benefit from the scholarship and also to deliver development impact after the scholarship. So this is what is being asked. You can choose academic or professional referees, but the only condition is that your referees must be able to justify how you will be able to benefit from the scholarship and how you will create social impact after that. Now, one of the referees must be a current employer. If you're currently employed, it requires one of the referees to be your current employer. Now, references are usually asked after nomination, which is usually in April and May. That is the time your request for references comes in. So that's the time you are normally nominated by the university. Now, the practice so far in the previous years has been that candidates who are nominated will be mailed by the commission with details as to where they should send the references, the deadline for sending references, and the format, the details of how the references should look like, who should be addressed, and all of that. So you'll be mailed all of those details usually in April and May once you are nominated. And then candidates themselves will have to contact their referees and ask the referees to send it to the given mail ID. So that has been the process so far. Over to Siddhi to talk about the first part of how to write your essays.
All right, so here comes the bit that I think scares like a whole bunch of us. It definitely scared me because the applications comprise of a whole bunch of essays that are supposed to be specifically worded and things like that. And you're supposed to talk about so much of what is it that you want to do, so much of what is it that you intend to do after the scholarship through essentially these essay prompts, right? So the essay prompts revolve around some of these key areas: developmental impact, study outline, your career goals, your personal statement, your voluntary and leadership experience. Under developmental impact, they are intending to understand how your chosen developmental issues relate to your local SDGs, your national SDGs, and the global ones, right? They intend to understand that through pursuing this course, who are the beneficiaries that you intend to benefit, right? Through your study outline, the committee wants to understand what do you intend to gain from the course, what do you intend to do after your course, and then there, of course, the career goals essays are divided into what you intend to do in the immediately after the award, in the shorter term and in the longer term, right? So there's a lot of career planning involved. For those of you who are confused about what to do, I think through answering these essay questions, you will definitely find some answers as to what could be some of those possibilities. Your personal essay, your personal statement is really important in the sense that it allows you to talk about your personal life. Where is it that you're coming from? What really drives and motivates your interest, right? So I think it is important to take your personal statement as seriously as the other aspects. And then through the section on voluntary and leadership experience, it gives you a chance to talk about the work you've already done in the area, the leadership initiatives that you might have taken while pursuing your study at an undergraduate level, master's level, or in life in general. So there's that. So let's deep dive into these. Okay, so the first developmental impact question revolves around how your proposed study relates to developmental issues at the global, national, and the local level, how the developmental issues connected to your chosen CSE development theme, and the wider section. So for this section, the recommended bits are going ahead and explaining the problem and the issue that you're intending to sort in your local community, in your country, and things like that, and forging a narrative in such a way that it aligns with the larger CSE themes. Of course, you can go ahead and include your previous experiences briefly. You can include a personal story here as well. It could be a good idea to play with numbers. So, using statistics from credible sources and things like that could be a good idea. You can also, of course, go ahead and connect the specific issue to various levels. You can connect the issues to the sustainable developmental goals, which is always a good practice. But at the same time, the tricky part is the fact that you just have 200 words, right? And to do all of this in 200 words can be an arduous and daunting task. So definitely don't wait until the very last minute to craft your essays. What you can do is that you can try to note down keywords and talk to yourself as to what do you genuinely intend to do, and then perhaps sit and try writing these essays. Last but not the least, it is extremely important to mention how your degree will be a propeller in helping you solve this specific developmental issue that you're trying to target. So moving on to the next question. How do you intend to apply your new skills and qualifications when you return home? This question needs to be answered in 100 words. So here we suggest that you write about what you intend to do after you come back, talk about specific skills that you will gain from your course and how will you apply them. A really great recommendation here is to actually go through the university website, find your specific course, and find out what are the skills that they intend for you to have once you've finished this course. Another good idea is to connect with various alumni, perhaps, who have taken the exact same course as you. Maybe they've not gotten the scholarship, but they have done the same course as you, to understand what personally are the motivations of the course, what did they gain from them, and things like that. So that you can also have ideas as to what are things that you can experiment with and focus on after you're completing the course, and what are the things that you can do when you return home. It's always a good idea to be precise, to mention the action when you're writing your essays. Being precise instead of being vague shows confidence, and it allows the committee to connect with what is it that you intend to do. So the third part of the developmental impact focuses on what you expect will change in developmental terms following your studies, including the outcomes you aim to achieve, the time frame and their implementation, and who the beneficiaries will be. So for this section, expand on the specific actions and the exact outcomes that you intend to achieve. What is it that you want to do? Do you want to organize a community project? Do you want to, give workshops? Is there a specific organization that you intend to work with to propel your goals forward? Of course, be ambitious, but at the same time, be realistic. The people assessing your scholarship committees are people who have been in the same boat as you, of course, so of course, make like big claims, but also have paths in also have paths and ways in which you intend to reach the same. When it comes to setting your time limits and time frames, again, set very grounded goals. Highlight who are the target audience and what will they be benefiting through the actions that you intend to take, right? Again, through the developmental themes and the outcomes you aim to achieve, it's always a good idea to talk to your peers, talk to other people who are applying for the scholarship, and understand what scholarship can help you do in the longer term. And then, of course, connect it with the things that you've done in the past as well. Last but not the least, how the impact of your work could be measured. You yourself need to tell them what is it that you intend to do, but most importantly, how do you intend to measure the impact of your work, right? So set here the parameters that you intend to use to measure the work you've done. Are there any existing indexes by an international body that you could be using to assess the sort of work that you can do? If there are no existing parameters, what is it that you will personally use to, measure the work that you've done? Of course, it can be qualitative, it can be quantitative, it can be a combination of both, right? So there are lots of ideas here. This reminds me of, how when you're doing your research, for instance, especially for your dissertation and research projects, you always, have to find ways wherein you're measuring your impact. So it's sort of similar to that in the same, right? So yeah, moving on. Okay, objectives during the award. Describe the skills that you expect to gain from the scholarship in your career plans once you return home afterwards. So in this section, you must highlight the opportunities that you want to engage in during the award. A good idea to go about it is to assess your CSE website. There are lots of opportunities that are available for the scholars while they are on the scholarship, right? There are events such as Collab and Connect, of course. There are events that are done in association with the Cumberland Lodge. So research about these initiatives, it showcases that you're genuinely interested in a scholarship and that you see that there is a value in being a Commonwealth scholarship. So focus on the initiatives that you want to take personally during your study. What are the networks you intend to build during your study? Are there any specific extracurriculars that you're looking forward to in your specific university while you pursue your course? Are there any specific organizations that you want to work with while you are in UK? And of course, in this section, you could also include the research topic for your dissertation if you have anything in mind in that arena, right? So of course, you can look for things on the CSE website. You can specifically research the university, look at the things that they offer, opportunities that they offer, and ultimately craft an answer that is an amalgamation of all of that. Again, be as specific as possible. That's always a good idea, and helps scholarship committee understand that you are, after all, very serious about this. So there's that. Over to you, Jasmin.
Right, thank you so much, Siddhi. So now, after the development impact part, which is a very important part of your overall application, moving on to career plans. CSE, the application has two questions on your career plans. The first one asks to elaborate plans in the short run, that is in the 5 years following the award, in 250 words. Now, they're basically expecting you to tell them what you'll do after your immediate return. So you can mention the specific job roles you want to take up, specific organizations you want to work with. So be as specific as you can. What you basically want to see for yourself in the next 3 to 5 years, and also how it is related to the challenges you wanted to address. So an important aspect of the career plan is that this is extremely related to your development impact. So whatever outcomes you've mentioned in your development impact, whatever plans and strategies you've mentioned in your development impact, it should feature in your career plan as well, because these are both related, right? You're planning to deliver development impact through your career. So the two parts should reinforce each other. And an important way to think about writing your career plan is the SMART method, which is usually something that's recommended for evening essays, but it's useful here as well, which is being specific, measurable, ambitious, realistic, and time-bound. That is your goals. Your career plan should be as specific as you can. Instead of broadly saying you want to work in this field, name drop organizations, name drop job roles, be very specific, as specific as you can. It's okay to change them later on, but in your application, showing specificity is a good way to show that you're committed to those goals. Make your outcomes measurable, be ambitious, but also be realistic. You can put forward very ambitious goals, but also elaborate the realistic steps you're going to take towards achieving that goal. And also each of your goals have to be time bound. And then the second question is about your long-term career plans, which is your plans in the next 5 to 10 years. You can talk about a larger long-term vision you want to implement, as ambitious as you want. And again, mention a clear time frame. Again, repeating this, that this part of your answer should reinforce your development impact. So do not make these two entirely separate parts of your essay. Your development impact is what you aim to achieve through your career plan. So make it reinforce each other. And then the CSE also asks 2 questions regarding your study outline. The first one asks you to provide a very short 125-word outline of your proposed study, which is meant for a non-technical audience. So the general recommendation here is to use very simple, non-jargon language. You can mention the modules you want to take. You can also mention your dissertation topic, anything important, any important skill, or you can also briefly talk about the rationale behind your course. So maybe there's some experience, maybe your past experience has propelled you towards taking up this particular course, or maybe it's about a knowledge gap that you want to fill. So very briefly, you can talk about why you want to choose this course and keep it very brief. It's just 125 words. So a very brief outline of what you aim to achieve through the course. Yeah. And then you are also provided a space in 300 words to write a more detailed plan of your study. And this question basically asks for your rationale for 3 things. One is, why have you chosen this course in this university? And why you want to study in the UK? What is it that you're looking for in a course, and how your course relates to your objectives, and any dissertation topic. So make sure that you answer all of these parts in a coherent manner. Can mention your learnings from previous experiences, again, skills or knowledge gaps you aim to fill as an explanation for why you want to choose this course. Also, what is it that you're looking for in a course? There you can mention about university rankings, or how excellent the department is, the modules, the courses you want to pursue, the professors you want to work with, any research centers that are there in the particular department, any particular skills that you want to learn. All of these can be mentioned. Why specifically the UK? Now you can mention how UK has a lot of good universities, or maybe there are some UK government policies that sort of help you learn from them and implement it. So be creative with that answer as well, rather than just saying, UK is really good, or UK has top universities. You can find more creative ways of answering it as well. Maybe there are organizations in the UK, maybe the course structure is different. So work around that a little bit, and then elaborate on your dissertation and your research interests as far as you can as well. Now, the last 2 parts of your essays, firstly, the personal statement is basically an opportunity for you to explain your personal background and how it has encouraged you to pursue this course, and also make an impact. Importantly, make an impact in your home country. And you should indicate areas in which you have already contributed. So you can talk about your past experiences, and you can also talk about your experience of having overcome any personal or community barriers in your higher education journey. So this is basically intended as a space for you to talk about anything else that have not been mentioned in any of the previous answers. So it's a space for you to talk about experiences that have not featured elsewhere in your application. You can talk about your personal journey, again, journey of overcoming barriers, your goals, your vision. All of these can be included, and this is it can be highly varied between each person, because it's about your journey. It's about how you want to craft it and how you want to use this space to talk about your journey and any other experience, anything else that you want to mention that has not so far been mentioned. And finally, voluntary and leadership experience. Now, the personal statement and the voluntary and leadership experience, both of these are larger in their word limit. They are each for 500 words. And this part of the question asks for ways in which you've engaged in voluntary activities and the opportunities you've had to demonstrate leadership. So you can pick and choose some leadership experiences, some volunteering experiences from your journey, and mention how it has brought you so far. And a good way to think about it is the STAR method, which is again situation, task, action, and result approach, which is rather than just listing things that you've done so far, you can pick situations, talk about pick positions of leadership that you've were in, talk about a particular challenge you had, what was the task in front of you, what was the action you took, and what was the result. So making it impact oriented or result oriented. So instead of just saying I occupied this, I did this position, I became this, talk about what did you do doing this, what was the impact you created doing this, and how you demonstrated leadership through these experiences. So focus more on your results, focus more on the skills that you have displayed. And finally, so these are all of the questions that are asked in your essays. This is basically the same as what was asked in the Commonwealth Master Scholarship as well. And once you start writing, you understand that a lot of questions are repetitive in nature, in the sense that you have as I said before, the career plan part and the development impact part, they are going to be very related to each other. Objectives during your award and your study plan, these are going to be related. And then you have additional space to talk about your personal experience. So there are a lot of reinforcing questions, repetitive questions, and they are meant to be repetitive so as to also see how you adhere to the particular goals you have in mind. Are you presenting a consistent, coherent story throughout your answers? So it is meant to be repetitive, and it's okay, but don't repeat the same kind of experiences over and over again. Go for diverse experiences, go for diverse examples in your essay, but your overall goal and your overall vision should be reinforcing each other in all of your answers. And personally, and for a lot of applicants, I think a lot of useful YouTube content for preparing and thinking about your essays. These are YouTube channels run by some African YouTubers. These are, I personally found it really helpful during my application. Victor Bogwa, Faith Edigol, and I'm sure there are some more other channels, but they had a lot of ways. They guided me through ways to curate my thought process for the application. So I think that's it about the presentation. Thank you so much for listening. I think we can move on to questions now.
Yes, thank you so much, Jasmin and Siddhi, for giving such a comprehensive overview of the scholarship. Before we move into, we already have a lot of questions in chat and a lot of hands are being raised. But before we come to those, I thought it might be just good to quickly talk about the questions that have been answered in chat, because just for the benefit of those who will be watching a recording of this workshop, and for those who are asking, it is recorded and we will upload it on our YouTube channel. So you can find the recording there, and the PPT will also be there. So just very quickly, some sort of important questions that came up. One is that you don't need an IELTS or a TOEFL score while you're applying for the scholarship. You may need it for the university application, and so you'll have to check whether your course requires the English language score, but the scholarship doesn't require it. Jasmin already spoke about the deadline. The master's application portal is now, I think, closed. The deadline's gone, but the Commonwealth Shared Scholarship application has just opened, and the deadline is 14th of December. And there's one important other question. That you can apply as many times as you want. So it's not that if you applied last year, you cannot apply this year. You can apply as many times, and you can apply to different universities and different courses for the scholarship as well. Perfect. Fatima, do you want to ask your question?
Hi. First of all, congratulations, Siddhi. I can see that your happiness from being a mentee to mentor, and that is what I'm sure all of us are expecting. And thank you. Yeah, my question is, I have already applied for masters. A Commonwealth masters. So can I also again apply for shared scholarship? And second is, I want to know more if you have any idea about taking this dependent, because I have a 12-year-old child, and would be really helpful if I can take him along. So if you have any idea on that.
So, first of all, thank you so much, Fatima. That's really so sweet of you to mention. To answer the first part of your question, you can definitely apply to Commonwealth Shared Scholarships, even if you've applied to like the Master's Scholarship. And again, you can apply for as many scholarships as you want. So that is that. I unfortunately do not have more information on the second part of your question, but Jasmin, if you have anything to say about it, maybe you could take that up.
So I think so if you check the CSE website, they talk about childcare allowance that they provide to dependents that you're bringing to the UK. It's not meant to, it's not meant to cover the whole expenses, but it's meant as a contribution for your care. So they definitely are okay with you taking dependents to the UK, as long as you're able to figure out the rest of the process, which I'm not very sure about, like the general process of it. But CSE does provide a childcare allowance.
Thank you so much.
Amazing. Kriti, do you want to ask your question? You're on. Yeah.
Hi, am I audible?
Yes.
Yeah. Since coherence has been well established by you in the application process, my question was, I'm applying to say MPP at Oxford, and then public policy program at some other school. Now, it is very clear that Oxford does not encourage PhD or DPhil as a long-term career plan in MPP, because the course page, it says that the program is not meant for DPhil and all. It's more of a professional program. While the other schools, they don't have an issue with that. Now, when I apply through the Commonwealth Shared Scholarship through different schools, so like, can I introduce two different things? Like while I'm applying to MPP, can I say something else as a career plan long term? And can I say research and academia as a long term career plan in a school which allows to go into research and stuff?
So yes, Kriti, of course, each Commonwealth Scholarship is a separate application, right? So the one you're writing for Leeds will be read by Leeds. The one you're writing for Oxford will be read by the scholarship committee at Oxford. So you are definitely allowed to mold each application in accordance to your requirements and the course requirements, of course, right? And then, of course, it's up to the scholarship committee to see if it aligns with their goals, to see if you are an eligible good candidate for them or not, yeah. But yeah, don't have any inhibitions about the same. You're totally good to go.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Afreen?
Hi, thank you. Thank you so much for organizing this. I have two questions. First of all, what is the document that you upload for the proof of citizenship? Is it mandatory to upload your like a scanned copy of your passport, or will Aadhaar also work? I'm asking because my passport has expired and is currently in the process of renewal. I'm expecting to be here by December. So would Aadhaar work as a proof of citizenship, or are they very stringent on just uploading the passport?
So if you check the website, it says that you can upload your passport or a national ID, but the only condition is that it should show your citizenship. Now, Aadhaar does not show your citizenship as far as I know. Yeah, so I think passport is the more expensive. I mean, you can check the website yourself, so you'll understand what is it that they look for in an ID. So passport, because obviously it's a proof of citizenship, and if it's a national ID, it should also indicate your I'll just read it out for you. Basically, what they're looking for is proof that you are a citizen or have refugee status in an eligible Commonwealth country, which means a copy of a valid passport or a national ID that shows your photograph, date of birth, and country of citizenship. So I'm not too sure that Aadhaar shows your country of citizenship, so that might be the only problem here.
All right, thank you. I think I'll write to them and ask them what.
Yeah, perfect. That would be fine. Yeah.
My second question is that initially I had attended the session that Project EduAccess organized last year for Commonwealth Shared Scholarships. And I think, Jasmin, I think you were the panelist, you were the only panelist there. And I actually watched a recording recently. I might have misinterpreted it, but maybe in one of the questions that was asked to you was that we can choose the course out of our theme and not the theme out of our course. But I think this year when I actually started applying using the portal, there are specific courses listed under themes. Like I'll give you an example. This might sound complicated. The MA in Education and International Development at UCL is categorized under Access, Inclusion and Opportunity theme. But the MA in International Development, not Development Studies, it's called Development Studies at Sussex, is categorized under Strengthening Health Capacity and Systems. I'm not sure how to navigate these two things in my two different applications under two different themes. So could you help me in understanding how to sort of navigate my theme, like my essays for my theme, because there are two different themes, but the course is essentially the same in these two universities. So just having a bit of a trouble in understanding how to sort of navigate through my essays. Thank you.
Good question. Great question. So I think, see, probably the only part where you'll have to make modifications with regards to your theme would be the first part of your development impact and maybe somewhere else in your career plan. I think that's the first part of it, the development impact question one is the only part where they explicitly ask how it is related to a theme. So that question you'll have to definitely modify and like think around ways to see how the course relates to the particular theme. I mean, it doesn't make a lot of sense to put very similar courses in very different themes, but the only difference comes because universities usually bid for particular themes, I think so. So it comes from university decisions as well. So it's just a technicality. But yeah, so I think you'll only have to modify very few parts of your application to fit into themes. Otherwise, generally, these might fit into broad areas. So, for example, your career plan does not have to change too much. Your study plan, because the course is different, will change. But the other aspects of your essay can remain intact. Just focus on changing your development impact just a little bit to accommodate the different themes. I mean, work around creatively just to see how it can relate to the particular theme. It's just a technicality. But yeah, so I think you'll only have to modify very specific aspects of your essay.
Yeah, I think that makes complete sense. I just wanted some validation on if I'm doing it correctly. So much as.
Perfect. Atalia?
Hi, am I audible? Okay. So my question is, as we know that we can apply for multiple courses at multiple universities on the portal. My question is, last time I applied for LSE with the Commonwealth Master's Scholarship, the course was Human Rights Law. But now the Shared Scholarships talks about an MSc in Development, Gender and Development program, which I want to apply. So right now I'm turning in my application for LSE, and LSE allows only 2 programs to apply at a time. So I would be applying like the one I've already given the course name for the Commonwealth Master's Scholarship. And now since I would be applying for shared also, so I should mention that course. So basically I need to choose the course right now with LSE, if I am not wrong. Like I think I'm not being clear. So the thing is, LSE Human Rights Law, I've already applied for Master's Scholarship, and now I want to apply for Shared Scholarship. For Shared Scholarship, LSE is having MSc in Gender and Development program. So these 2 particular courses right now I need to apply at LSE, and I'm turning my application at LSE a bit early. So right now itself, before applying to CSE portal, I want to apply at LSE. So these are the 2 particular courses. Basically, for scholarship, I need to apply to specific courses, right? Okay. I just wanted to confirm this, and yeah, okay. Thank you.
Siddhi, Jasmin, do you want to make a comment on that?
No, so I think these two scholarships are, I mean, the selection process is completely independent of each other. So if for masters you want to apply for one particular course at LSE, and for shared you want to apply for a separate course, that's totally fine. Yeah, I mean, the selection process is entirely independent, so it's perfectly fine.
Thank you.
Yeah, but
Hello.
yes, go for it, Bharat.
Yes. Thank you very much for this wonderful session. So just I have two queries. One is if I have applied for Commonwealth Shared Scholarship last year. So if I will apply this year and if I use the same essays which I used last year, so will it act as a self plagiarism, or should I do any modify it? There is another thing is if I want support to improve my essays and the documents. So how Project EduAccess can help me, or any other help I can get somewhere to improve this?
So to answer the first part of your questions, because you have already applied last year and you'll be applying again this year, I would personally suggest to like modify your answers a little bit to sort of see how you can improve upon them, right? I don't think it would count under plagiarism to submit the same application essentially, but because you have another chance to sort of apply again and you've waited for it like the entire year, it could be a good idea to see how, reflect on how this year has perhaps helped you, gain some more skills, gain some more perspectives, right? And perhaps incorporate them in your answers instead of submitting the same exact answers that you did the previous time. And to answer the second part of your question, Project EduAccess runs these mentor-mentee programs, of course. And if I'm not wrong, the applications for them have already closed for the year. And if there are any other ways in which EduAccess supports the mentees, I think, Ms. Park, you can probably comment upon the same.
Yeah, I think these online, I mean, if we've sort of closed applications to be a mentee with us. So these public workshops are sort of way in which you can get support. If there's a question that you have about the scholarship, you can send us an email at info@projecteduaccess.com, and we'll try to have that answered, but we won't be really able to provide any comprehensive support, unfortunately.
But also, one of the things that you could do is possibly connect with different alumni, right? Like through LinkedIn and things like that, and perhaps request them if they can offer you some one-on-one support in those ways, right? Like you could have a conversation with them, you could request them to schedule a meeting with you. You can, of course, send them your essay drafts if it's okay with them, and if they are ready to like assess the same. So these are some other ideas that you could utilize to find some further support with regard to your application answers.
Okay, thank you.
Afreen, is that a new question?
Another question, I forgot about it. There's a section on publication and prizes this year. I'm not very sure if it was there earlier as well, but it was. Could we speak a little bit more about this? Like, can I include prizes, say, from school? Because I don't think I have a lot of prizes from my university or college time, other than thesis or papers. I've not written any papers that have gotten published. What are the things that we can include in this particular section? What are they looking for particularly?
So this section was definitely there like the last year as well. I'm not sure what it was like the year before. So there's that. I think they're definitely looking for things that you've published. I think a good idea could be, if you have some essays that you've written, if there are any conferences that you've been a part of, like if there's any substantial academic work that you've done, I would suggest perhaps going ahead and publishing it in form of a blog, perhaps, and using that as a way to showcase your publication. I think that could be one of those ideas, because you mentioned that you don't have a lot of them right now. Blogs and articles written through websites definitely still count as publications, so there is that. And with regard to the prices, I think they're just looking for like some milestones, that you may have gotten during the time you were taking your previous courses and stuff like that. I don't think it's not okay to mention prizes from school. Like, of course you can, of course, but they're definitely looking for like more recent awards and things like that if there's a possibility about the same. But also I think in this section you can definitely mention if you were like parts of certain societies or clubs and your contribution that you might have made as a member and the impact that you might have brought. That could be one of those things. And yeah, if you have anything to add, Jasmin.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Siddhi.
William 3, do you want to ask your question?
Yeah. Is it audible?
Yeah, you're audible.
Yeah, thank you. And I have a couple of questions, and I have just noted down those questions. And my first concern is that my referees in the university, which I have currently passed out, those referees don't have any institutional email IDs. Even for the Commonwealth or for my university applications, they don't have any official institutional email IDs. Can I use the personal email? Does this make any difference?
You want to answer that, Siddhi?
Okay. So I don't think it is mandatory that your referees are still affiliated to an institution that they have been like, okay. So to briefly answer your question, I think it should be okay to send your reference via like a personal email ID. But I think it is definitely still preferred if, you know, it's an institutional email ID, if it's done on an institutional letterhead, because it definitely increases the legitimacy of your reference. So there is that. So I would definitely suggest that if you can reach out to some other mentors who were with you, who are still a part of that organization, I think that could be a better idea. Because I distinctly remember that when I was submitting my references for University of Exeter, they did emphasize that they must be on like an institutional letterhead and things like that, right? So while you don't require any like references to be submitted immediately, I think, you know, sort of utilize this time to reach out to people who are still a part of the institution and could perhaps give you the same via their official email. So yeah.
They have an official institutional letterhead, but the problem is they don't have only the university vice chancellor and the rector had a official institutional email ID. Remaining, even the head of the department's principals, everyone use their personal email, Yahoo, Gmail. Likewise, they used to use the people.
I think that should be totally okay then. Like, as long as they have the institutional letterhead, I think you'd be good to go.
Even
and also,
yeah, just adding to Siddhi. Sorry. Can I just add a point, William?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think while Siddhi is right about having an institutional, as in an established institution's letterhead, I think it's also fine if referees, I mean, by a letterhead, they can. What they mean by a letterhead is also that you can create a personal letterhead as well. So, for example, if your referee right now is a retired professor who is not working in a particular institution, then they can create their own personal letterhead as well, saying, you know, saying just that you're a professor, you were a retired professor or something. So just a personal letterhead would also be fine, or even sending from a legitimate mail ID would be fine actually.
Yeah, when I talked to the faculty, they told it should come from there is a very set of rules and regulations to get an email ID to the professor. So it is not technically possibility. It takes 8 to 10 months of time to get an official email ID for us. So please don't ask us and don't bother us. They've been telling me.
So I think that should be okay. Your letterhead is essentially supposed to include information about the full name of your referee, their contact information, their email, the post that they held previously or they are holding currently. So as long as they're mentioning all of those details, I think that would be okay.
Yeah. And after when I choose my CSE theme, under that we will be having to choose the first sustainable development goal, second, third. Should it be completely aligned with the theme that I have chosen, or which are the things that I wish to work on, those things that I should choose them as my first preference developmental goal?
So for the Commonwealth Shared Scholarship, the courses are already defined in a set of like given theme, right? Like there's a database already that says that this specific course is going to be a part of a specific theme. So you don't have to think about which theme would it fit better in. And then, of course, whenever you're answering your questions through your personal essays, through your developmental impact essays and things like that, you can always make it a point to, answer them in alignment to the SDGs that are related to the specific theme, right? And if you are then focusing on another developmental impact, it could be a good idea to see if you can add in like some other SDGs as well. But the major focus is like what is it that you bring to the table? What is your personal journey? What are your goals and aspirations? So I wouldn't say that you need to be too worked up about the SDG aspect of the same.
Yeah. And the problem is that the course that I was looking for is the development studies. One of the development studies at the University of Sussex comes under strengthening global things and resilience, and the same course offered by developmental studies offered by another university comes under global health policy. These are two different CSE teams. Then how do I rate the development impact?
So I think Jasmin sort of briskly already answered this question when they were referring to like another candidate's query. So there is that, but in a nutshell, this is a technicality, right? So hopefully when you're writing the answer for Sussex, try to focus on the theme that they have categorized it under. When you're writing the same developmental impact, application for this another university, focus on the arenas that they want you to focus on, but you don't have to majorly sort of change your application, right? Like the vast majority of your application really remains the same. There will only be some tweaks wherein they require to explicitly connect your answer with the specific theme. So there is that. But again, like don't be too worked up about this technicality as well, right? The focus essentially again is your ideas, your perspectives, what is it that you want to do with the scholarship, after the scholarship, and all of that. And yes, all the best for your application.
Yeah, thank you. And while you're explaining the second development impact part two, I didn't understand. I mean, I have logged out out of the session. How do I connect the works of mine after coming to the hometown with the already CSC alumni? I didn't understand can I connect with that in the limited frame of 100 words.
Sorry, could you repeat? I did not understand. How do you connect it with your CSE alumni?
For the development impact part two, when we return back to the home country, how do we work that when you are explaining? The session got logged out. So once again, I didn't understand how do I connect them.
So if I understand you correctly, you're talking about the second aspect of the developmental impact, right? How do you intend to apply your new skills and qualifications after you return home, right? Okay. So there will definitely be a recording of the session that is available. You can definitely go through that part once again. But to answer like very specifically, you can open the course page, see what are the intended skills that the modules will help you develop once you're taking the course, and sort of connect it with your own personal goals. What is it that you want to do? What sort of skills that you are hoping to learn through this course that will help you propel your personal goals forward, whatever it is that you want to do forward. So there is that. And of course, at the end of the day, try to be as precise as possible when you're answering that. I know it can be tricky to answer very big things like that in like the short span of 100 words, but it is definitely that is doable. It might require lots of edits and things like that, but I think you definitely got this.
Yeah, thank you. And my last question is that regarding the study outline, as you told that we need to, I mean, it is almost similar to the detailed study plan. I think what are the things that I cannot speak under this things of detailed study plan? Can I include the rest of the things in the study outline, or else that should be a different part?
I think, William, the study outline is intended as an introduction, just a very brief introduction of what you want to do. So while you can definitely include any additional point that you have left out, uh, don't cramp it up with too many points, because the purpose is that this is the first 125 words a person will read about what you want to do. So make it logically coherent that way, in the sense that this is the introduction, and then building from this you are explaining it in the second answer. So that is the flow that you have to go. So don't just put everything else that you couldn't say in the second question in the first. The first one is the introduction, so plan it that way.
Yes, thank you. And one last question I had. I think I with liberty. Regarding the Commonwealth Masters Scholarship, I had one query. I got an offer letter, but the offer letter that I got from the Queen Mary University, for the MPP course, they don't have a very specific, rank. In the website, it shows it is N by A, not available. What should I mention that while submitting the same offer letter in the Shakti portal? Do you have any idea?
I'm not too sure about this, because I do not know how the submission thing works for the master scholarship. Siddhi, do you have any idea?
So I didn't exactly understand, like, where do you need to put like the rankings of the university in the application? Essentially, I didn't.
Essentially, yeah. After some, when we go through the portal, we will be asking from which university did we get an offer letter. We will type the university name. After that, what is the QS ranking of that university? We will mention that.
I think you're talking about like the Commonwealth Master's Scholarship, but this session is about Commonwealth Shared Scholarship.
So William, I'd recommend you send us an email, and we'll try to answer that. But because this is a shared scholarship session, I don't think.
Okay, I'll email you. Just right now, I'll email. Thank you. That's my long question.
Okay, and we don't have much time because we have another session at 10:30. So if it's so what we'll do is very quickly take the questions that are from people who have their hands raised. And so if everybody could just ask their questions first, and then maybe Jasmin and Siddhi, you can just respond to all of them together, and then we can close the session. Yeah, so Akila, then Ananya, then Tabina, then Zina, and Michelle. So please, can you please keep your questions brief? Sorry, yeah, go ahead.
Hello, I'm Akila. Thank you for the session. I just wanted to confirm. I asked the question in the chat box about the scholarship and the separate application to the university. I got the answer from Jasmine that you just have to apply once to the CSC scholarship. But to the other candidate, she answered that she has to apply to the university again. So I'm just a little bit confused whether we have to apply 2 times like we do in evening, or just once it will suffice. Thank you.
The other thing I also want to ask.
Yeah, Ananya, and then Tabina, just very quickly.
Yeah, I'll just go next. It's very quick. I think it's related to the same multiple applications. So I just try to log into my, I've already started an application on the portal. And now that if I want to make another application to another university, I need to log in as a new user, and then I need to create like something else with a different password, because that's what it seems to be telling me right now. So I'm a little confused about how the multiple applications function. I think in answer to the Akila's question, I think it's similar to Shivning, and you have to apply to the scholarship separately, and the university application remains separate. That's what I feel. So yeah, but I had a doubt about this multiple thing on the CSC thing itself.
Thank you, Nani. Tabina, do you want to ask your question?
Greetings from my side. I have a question that while I am in the login section this time, one question they're asking the question like, what is your current employment? Since I don't have any employment background, what I have to ask there? Answer there.
Okay. I think there's Sazina and then Michelle.
Yeah, so hi, am I audible? Yeah, so I just
Yes.
wanted to ask about in terms of Commonwealth Master's Scholarship, we applied for only one application where we submitted the names of 3 universities or 3 courses. But but in terms of Commonwealth Shared Scholarship, we have to make separate applications each time we want to apply to universities. So my first question was, so are we eligible to apply multiple times? So if I want to apply to 2 courses at the same university, am I eligible to do that? And my second question was, so like in Commonwealth Master Scholarship application part, where we wrote about the professors and course modules of like 3 universities or 3 courses in like the 2 essays, the study outline essay. So in terms of Commonwealth shared scholarship, we have to like write only about the particular course or course modules or professors we want to work with, because it is like we are applying to particular courses each time. So is it like that, or like okay, I get.
And yeah, Michelle, perfect.
Hi. So my first question is regarding the eligibility criteria. So, someone had mentioned that either you need like a 60% in the undergrad, or then a higher grade in your master. So my question is around, how is the 60% calculated? Like, is it an average of your 3 years? Like if it's a semester system, or like if you could throw a little bit of light on how does one calculate it, or is it in some universities say you need to have gotten a 60% in your third year exams? So that's my first question. And the second question is around what everybody else has also been asking in the chat and in the question about, do you apply to the scholarship and then the university as well? Now I'm understanding that you do, but in terms of timeline, which one do you get to know first? Like, do you get accepted to the scholarship first? And then does that mean that then you kind of already have secured a position in the university, or is it like you have to get into the university first and then this happens? Yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So are there any more questions?
No, I don't see any other new hands raised.
So quickly answering all of the questions that came in the chat regarding the application process. So this is how it works. Basically, each application that you submit goes to a particular university, right? That is why you have to submit separate applications for each course in university, because that particular university will be the one that is reading your code, reading your Commonwealth application. Now, the first question regarding confusion about once or twice. So you definitely have to apply to the university. That is, you course application definitely has to go to your university. The difference between once and twice, that's just a terminology, because the master's scholarship, Commonwealth Master Scholarship, you basically have to apply twice, one at the portal, one at the ministry's portal. So that is where the difference is. Here, you don't have to apply to the ministry's portal, just apply on the Commonwealth portal. But definitely, 100% you have to apply for the course. There's no way you're going to get Commonwealth without applying to the course. So that is there. Now, how, just to give a brief timeline of how this works, and then as Siddhi can also take up the rest of the answers, just how this works is basically, so your university, so for example, I applied for the course at Oxford, my MSc in Economics for Development. I applied for the course in January when the course deadline was there in Jan 21, so I applied then. Commonwealth, I applied by the Commonwealth deadline in December. Now, what the university does is each university has a particular number of slots for Commonwealth Shared. Say, for example, Oxford has 8 Commonwealth Shared Scholars for 7 different courses. So that is their quota of Commonwealth Shared Scholars. Now, what they do is basically each university, they will first assess your course applications and they will determine whether you are eligible for admission. So by March of each year, you get an offer from the university saying you are selected for this course. Now, what universities do is, from these group of people who have received an offer, they select those who are eligible for a Commonwealth Shared Scholarship. So during their assessment of your course admission itself, they look at how many people have applied for Commonwealth Shared for this course. So usually what happens is, my course in Oxford, for example, MSc Economics, always has one Commonwealth Shared Scholar. So there's a fixed one person for this course. So when they run the admission process, that is when they do the course admission process, they also take that in mind and see who among the cohort is eligible for the scholarship. So that is how it happens. University first selects you for the course, you get the course admission, and then later on, usually 1 or 2 months later, they let you know whether you have received the scholarship. So that is the application, how the application process works. And then, yeah, so Siddhi, do you want to take up any other questions?
So I think what Jasmin answered covers up like a majority of the questions, to be extremely honest, right? Because there were recurring questions about how many times do we have to apply and all of that, right? To retaliate, you definitely have to apply to the specific course, to the university itself, and then fill the Commonwealth application, right? And if I'm not wrong, the Commonwealth application even requires your application number for the course that you've already applied to in like the specific university, right? So you definitely have to apply to the university. So there is that. There was a question about, do we have to make multiple like IDs and stuff and have multiple logins for the Commonwealth application? No, not at all. How I remember is that in this, like when you're logging in, like in the same like set of like your portal only, you'll be able to submit it like multiple applications, right? So like if there is like a technical difficulty about the same, definitely like write to the Commonwealth and stuff like that. But it should be in like the same portal only, right? You should be able to make multiple applications and keep a track that okay, you've applied to like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 universities already, right? So it will be like through the same one login only. So there is that, right? So don't make like multiple IDs about the same. There was one question about your employment background. I think it's definitely okay if you don't have any employment background, because for some context, I graduated from Miranda House like 5 to 4 months ago, right? So I definitely don't have like a solid like job background or things like that, of course. But then I don't think that should be a problem, right? And whenever there's a section requiring you to showcase your work experience, definitely talk about your community engagement, definitely talk about the initiatives you've taken, be it leadership initiatives, be it things you've done in your college societies, clubs, and things like that. And of course, even things on a personal level, right? Like, was there a time you stood up for something in like within your own family, right? Even that counts essentially, right? You don't have to be a leader only if you're doing something outside of your home and all of that. So that's definitely something to keep in mind. And I think that sort of covers all the question. I think this is a good opportunity to introspect about your own journey, to explore what is it that is important to you, to see what is it that you want to do with your own life. I think the entire application process is really well designed to help you understand who you are better, right? And I think it's such a critical exercise in this juncture of our life. So there is that, right? At the same time, please don't be too harsh on you. This can be such a hard time to like go through. Definitely have access to your support system. Talk to your family, talk to your friends, about your emotions, whatever it is that you're feeling. I remember like this time last year, I was an utter mess, right? Dealing with like university examinations, this and that. So it can get a lot, right? So even if you're finding it hard to submit multiple applications, for instance, it's okay, right? Like be patient with yourself. Understand that this is genuinely like a very lengthy, long, time-consuming process. And if you're feeling all these emotions, like there's nothing wrong with you. It's absolutely okay and it's absolutely normal. And regardless of the outcomes of your applications, I'm sure that all of y'all will go ahead and do wonderful things in your life. So do not lose that faith in you and belief in you. So that is that.
Just final question. I think Michelle asked about eligibility, about the marks. I think, I mean, I might be wrong, but as far as I know, it's basically your aggregate for all of your years, as in when you finally graduate in your degree cert, I mean, in your transcript of marks, every university tells you what is your final grade, right? What is your final marks in your graduation. So that is what it looks at, not semester wise grades, but like the final aggregate of whatever you have scored throughout all of your 3 years.
Thank you.
Just other than that, all the best to all of you. I'm sure you'll all be able to do well.
Great. Thank you so much, Siddhi and Jasmin. That was really quick. I will just once again post some links in chat. So I'd already posted them, but just in case somebody missed it. So I am posting links. So I've posted a link of the recording for our Commonwealth Shared Scholarship workshop that we did last year. It includes both the recording of the session as well as the PPT that we used. We'll upload the recording of this workshop on our YouTube channel. I've put a link to the YouTube channel as well. You'll find a lot of other recordings on scholarship applications to study in UK, Europe, US on that portal, on that YouTube channel. I've also shared the link for the Commonwealth Scholarship application portal, not the application portal, but just scholarship page where you'll find information about the scholarship, and also the link to the page where you'll find information about the courses that are eligible for the Commonwealth Shared Scholarship and the sort of development themes under which they fall. So you can just have a look at all of these resources, and they should help you. And once again, I think a lot of the questions that came in chat were related to some of the things that Jasmin and Siddhi have already explained in the presentation. So in case you missed it, you can always go back to the recording of the workshop, see the PPT in detail, see what they're saying, and I'm sure your questions will be answered. And and if there's anything that's not been covered, and if you have any question, and if you're not a mentee with us, then you can send us an email at info@projecteduaccess.com, and I've sent that on chat as well, but I'll send it again. Email ID is info@, and for all of our mentees, you know where to catch us. So that's it. And we have our next session is on the WHT scholarship, which is starting in 2 minutes. So if you all want to join for that, it's a scholarship to study at Oxford. And yeah, thank you so much, Jasmin and Siddhi. Sorry that I was so rushed at the end, but we had so many questions. But yeah, thank you. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. And thank you, Jasmine and Siddhi. Really, thanks a lot. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
The link for the session is on our link tree or our social media, so you can find it where you found a link for this session as well. So it's all there. Okay, thank you. Bye,
Thank you so
everyone. See
much.
you.
It was a delight to interact with all of you all. Have a
Thank you.
beautiful day.
Bye. Thank you.